Today, we begin to unravel a story that delves deep into the complexities of marriage, the weight of expectations, and the transformative journey that can lead to profound emotional turbulence. This is the tale of Liam and Sarah, two individuals caught in the intricate web of modern relationship dynamics, navigating the challenging waters of an open marriage. It all begins with a proposition, one that alters the course of their lives forever. Liam, a 42-year-old independent software developer, and Sarah, a 40-year-old freelance graphic designer, have built a life together over the past 18 years, raising two beautiful children, Maya, a vibrant 16-year-old girl, and Finn, a curious 13-year-old boy. Their lives, once filled with shared dreams and aspirations, now bear the heavy burden of unfulfilled desires and unmet expectations. It was roughly 2 years prior that Sarah first approached Liam with a request that would shake the very foundation of their relationship. As they sat in their cozy kitchen adorned with remnants of family life, the laughter of children echoing in the background, Sarah spoke with a resolve that Liam found both fascinating and deeply unsettling. She confessed feeling as though she had been living a life of quiet desperation, feeling stifled and yearning for experiences she believed she had missed out on by marrying young. "I need to explore parts of myself, Liam," she said, her voice trembling with the weight of her confession. "I do not want to wake up years from now, regretting the things I never experienced. I need freedom." Liam listened, his heart racing as a wave of discomfort washed over him. He valued their stable, monogamous life, a partnership that had brought him joy and fulfillment. The idea of an open marriage felt like an affront to the vows they had exchanged years earlier. It was as if Sarah was asking him to dismantle the life they had built together, brick by brick. "Sarah," he replied, his voice heavy with concern, "this feels like a betrayal. We made promises to each other. You were my only partner. I thought that meant something to you." Sarah's eyes flashed back at him, a mixture of hope and frustration. "I know our vows meant everything, but I just feel trapped. I need to explore, to reconnect with who I am beyond being a wife and mother. I do not want to resent you or the life we have built together." The conversation escalated, exchanging accusations and fears, laying bare vulnerabilities that Liam never anticipated. It soon reached the point where Sarah threatened divorce, her words laced with desperation. "If you love me, you will understand. I cannot live a life of regret. I need this." Desperate to preserve their family, Liam grappled with the unbearable weight of her ultimatum. The last thing he wanted was to break up their children's lives, so he reluctantly agreed to her terms, attempting to find a way to appease Sarah while safeguarding their family dynamic. In a moment of deep introspection, Liam set down firm rules, strict boundaries that would help him navigate this uncharted territory. They agreed that no outside partners would be allowed in their home. Discussions of outside relationships would be off limits. Their children must remain unaware of this arrangement, and all partners had to be transparent about their relationship status and undergo health checks before engaging in any connections. Liam thought he had crafted a plan that would help them both explore their desires without shattering their family. He accepted the terms reluctantly, hoping that this experiment would either strengthen their bond or allow Sarah to come to terms with her feelings in a way that did not jeopardize the life they had built together. Little did he know how quickly the unraveling would begin. Within days, Sarah reconnected with an old colleague named Julian, a married marketing executive whom she had always felt a spark with. As Liam witnessed her excitement and fervor for this new relationship, his heart sank. The validation of his earlier fears hit him like a jagged rock in his throat. The open marriage had not only become real, but it had also awakened a longing in Sarah that he never thought she would need to explore outside the confines of their marriage. As the days turned into weeks, Liam found himself grappling with feelings of profound loneliness. He tried to engage in his work, focusing on projects in solitude, but the deep connection he felt with Sarah began to fade, eclipsed by the distance growing between them. He watched as she blossomed with her new partner, while he felt himself falling into a deep pit of envy, sadness, and confusion. While Sarah seemed invigorated by her newfound freedom, Liam's world felt increasingly isolated. He found himself searching for solace in the mundane, retreating further into his work, while his heart ached for the intimacy they once shared. It became clear to him the open marriage was not a solution, it was a paradox, and he was caught in the gravitational pull of emotional disarray. The fear of growing apart haunted him, Every time Sarah left for her rendezvous with Julian, Liam felt a piece of himself slipping away. He questioned everything. Could they return to the way things were? Was Sarah's fleeting happiness worth the pain of his profound loneliness? Each day the emotional toll of her decisions weighed heavier upon him, leaving him to wonder if their marriage could survive this fractured pact. As Sarah thrived in her new connection, a cascading wave of guilt consumed Liam. Was he wrong for trying to uphold their traditional union? Would his reluctance to embrace her desires lead to the demise of the very family he fought so desperately to preserve? As the weeks dragged on, his anxieties morphed into desperation, leaving him at a crossroads where he would soon be faced with choices that would determine the future of their marriage and the stability of their family. This is only the beginning of a journey filled with heartbreak, revelation, and the quest for self-identity within the complexities of modern relationships. In the chapters ahead, we will explore how Liam navigates this tumultuous landscape, the consequences of decisions made in the name of love, and the enduring strength of family bonds that tie them all together, even in a fractured pact. If you have ever found yourself in a situation where the ground beneath you feels shaky or your relationships test the limits of your sanity, then you might relate to Liam's tumultuous journey within the framework of an open marriage. While open marriages may promise newfound freedom and exploration, for Liam it became a landscape of emotional turmoil riddled with loneliness and uncertainty. In this chapter of their story, we delve into Liam's perspective as he grapples not only with the complexities of a marriage turned open, but also with the awakening of his own needs and desires. 6 months into the arrangement, the landscape of Liam's life had drastically shifted. A sense of profound loneliness settled in his chest, often seemingly insurmountable despite the physical presence of his wife Sarah in their home. He had witnessed Sarah flourish, her vibrant spirit invigorated by the connections she pursued outside their marriage. Meanwhile, Liam felt trapped, forgotten in a relationship that had morphed into something he hardly recognized. As he wandered through their home, devoid of its previous warmth, he could not shake the gnawing feeling that he was becoming an afterthought in Sarah's life. With each rendezvous Sarah had with Julian, her outside partner, Liam found himself slipping deeper into a state of emotional isolation. He longed for companionship, yet felt his own avenues limited, overwhelmed by a sense of betrayal that gnawed at him. Their marriage had turned into a paradox, masquerading under the guise of freedom while imprisoning him in uncertainty and fear. It was during one of these lonely evenings as he engaged in his work at home that an unexpected opportunity presented itself. He had volunteered to assist at a community art workshop, primarily to distract himself from the turbulent realities of his personal life. It was there, amid vibrant splashes of paint and the laughter of children, that he met Clara, a charismatic artistic force in her own right. As she enthusiastically described her small artisanal bakery and the way she tried to infuse her creations with stories, Liam felt a spark flicker to life within him for the first time in months. They engaged in casual conversation, laughter bubbling between them effortlessly. It was a refreshing reprieve from the poignant heaviness of his marriage, a reminder that connection could still exist beyond the turbulence. As the workshop continued, they exchanged texts, allowing their conversation to flourish into more frequent, deeper exchanges that illuminated corners of Liam's heart long left in the shadows. The emotional support he found in Clara spurred him to take a leap, culminating in the decision to embark on a casual relationship with her, completely devoid of strings. Initially, this relationship felt like a breath of fresh air, an exhilarating rush that filled the void Sarah created through her own actions. With Clara, Liam discovered a piece of himself that he feared lost, igniting passions that had long been buried. He shared laughs and deep conversations, and the physical side of their relationship became an unexpected oasis, a momentary escape from the aching reality of his connection with Sarah. It was strange, yet invigorating to experience such emotional and physical intimacy. The nights he spent with Clara left him energized, rekindling intimacy he had once taken for granted within his marriage with Sarah. Their interactions were a reflection of renewed connection, offering him a glimpse of what an emotionally fulfilling relationship could resemble. Yet, as he navigated these new experiences, guilt would gnaw at him. Back at home, evenings spent alone pushed the boundaries of his conscience into a wrestling match that left him exhausted. Meanwhile, Sarah's relationship with Julian began to wane. What initially started as an exciting adventure for her quickly devolved into a precarious balancing act. As far as Liam knew, Julian was married and had begun facing mounting pressure from his wife, who grew increasingly suspicious of his absences during the lockdown. Ultimately, driven by family obligations, Julian decided to end their arrangement, leaving Sarah in a state of emotional freefall. The morning that Sarah broke the news to Liam was etched in his memory. He sat in his favorite chair sipping coffee as she breezed into the room, a storm brewing behind her otherwise calm facade. With an air of resignation, she recounted the conversation, tears shimmering in her eyes. She spoke of heartbreak blended with a flicker of freedom. The news catalyzed a whirlwind of conflicting emotions within Liam. On one hand, he felt a bittersweet sense of satisfaction, knowing that her outside partner would no longer occupy her time, yet on the other, simmering guilt clawed at him for his secret intimacy with Clara. As Sarah sought solace to heal her wounds, Liam experienced a resurgence in guilt, battling the complexities of their open arrangement while simultaneously yearning for the deep connection he found in Clara. He found himself at a crossroads. The excitement he felt with Clara nagged at him, yet a sense of loyalty to Sarah anchored him in place. Each phone call and text exchange with Clara filled him with joy, making him long for the moments they spent together, yet uncertain if he should continue down a path that felt fraught with turmoil. Liam began to realize that he had unwittingly entered a cascade of emotional shifts stemming from their open marriage. This arrangement, first imagined as a pathway to embrace individualistic desires, transformed into a complicated game of chess where every move felt perilous. The dynamic of intimacy with Sarah, intertwined with the fresh spark of passion from Clara, painted a picture so complex that he struggled to resolve his feelings. Within weeks, however, reality challenged him once again. As Liam attempted to find balance, he found himself yearning for clarity. In the whirlpool of discontent, he attempted to communicate openly with Sarah, uncovering layers of emotional barricades sculpted over time. Would they ever return to their prior understanding of each other? Would intimacy in their relationship ever be rekindled? These were questions that haunted him daily. As spring gave way to summer, the eventuality of choices loomed heavy. Liam's connection with Clara began to take him away from the turbulent seas of infidelity, instead steeping him in a bond that felt genuine, spontaneous, and overwhelmingly comforting. Yet every moment spent with Clara reminded him of the promises he had made to Sarah, and he faced a heart-wrenching realization. The more he embraced his connection with Clara, the more it threatened to fracture the promise he had made to Sarah. The next phase of their open marriage would test those boundaries even further, leading Liam into a confrontation that would unveil the hypocrisy and double standards unraveling between him and Sarah. Yet Liam remained buoyed by the hope that he could navigate these tumultuous waters while striving toward emotional honesty and fulfillment for himself, a journey that he hoped would culminate in defined choices for love, heartache, and family for all four of them. Navigating an open marriage would lead to unexpected paths. But for Liam, this chapter was not just about exploration. It became a journey of self-discovery, reflection, and the towering complexities of human emotions. Each decision, each intimate moment, carved deeper into the flesh of his family's foundation, shaping the narrative of what it meant to confront the consequences of choice. With every day passing, the stakes grew higher, setting the stage for the unearthing of truths that would change the very essence of his relationship with Sarah and perhaps redefine the meaning of love and family for years to come. In the tangled web of an open marriage, expectations and realities intertwine like vines, often resulting in an unexpected and tumultuous journey. As Sarah found herself revisiting the implications of her own choices, the stability of their familial foundation began to shift in ways she could not have anticipated. In this chapter of their story, we explore how Sarah's actions, driven by a desire for freedom and self-discovery, spiraled into hypocrisy and manipulation, especially as she confronted the reality of her husband Liam's relationship with Clara. Sarah had never imagined that her request for an open marriage would lead to such complicated ramifications. When she had first proposed the arrangement, it was born from a desire to explore her own identity and rekindle feelings of lost youth. However, the emergence of Liam's relationship with Clara acted as a catalyst that forced her to confront the insecurities she had long buried. Her initial thrill quickly waned as she realized the permanence of her past choices and the unpredictability of their present circumstances. At a local farmer's market, The convergence of Sarah and Clara proved to be a pivotal moment that unveiled the deeper layers of Sarah's emotional turmoil. The sun illuminated the stalls, casting a warm glow on the fresh produce and baked goods, but it did little to soften the chill that ran down Sarah's spine as she overheard Clara animatedly discussing her bond with Liam. Her heart raced as Clara recounted how much she enjoyed Liam's company. A wave of jealousy and resentment washed over Sarah, forcing her to reckon with the possibility that her unrestricted freedom had inadvertently granted Liam a taste of happiness that she had thought was solely hers to explore. As Sarah pieced together the connection, her carefully constructed narrative of exploration crumbled. The very tenets she had upheld to justify seeking outside relationships now felt claustrophobic, and the bond she believed she had with Liam began to appear increasingly fragile. The big picture had not accounted for the outsized impact of emotional intimacy, something she had naively believed remained untouched by her pursuit of renewed experiences. In that moment, within the vibrant chaos of the farmer's market, her sense of agency transformed into a suffocating urge to regain control. Prompted by a need to reassert her authority, Sarah confronted Liam about his relationship with Clara the very afternoon after their encounter. The atmosphere within their home was tense, charged with unspoken accusations and feelings. With each word, Sarah attempted to navigate her jealousy while disguising it as concern, labeling Clara as a complication they did not need. "It is becoming too real," she claimed, her voice steady yet trembling beneath the surface. "You should end things with her for the sake of our family." Liam, caught off guard by Sarah's sudden change in resolve, drew a deep breath. "But Sarah, you are the one who initiated this arrangement. If the rules have shifted for you, how can they remain unchanged for me?" he responded, attempting to maintain a semblance of calm, despite the tempest that raged beneath. The conversation unfolded in layers, revealing the hypocrisy ingrained within Sarah's demands. She insisted that Liam's connection with Clara was a violation of their agreement, yet her actions had previously paved the way for such outcomes. As they navigated the contradictions within their conversations, it became evident that Sarah had used her earlier autonomy to manipulate the circumstances, selectively establishing rules that only served her interests. In a desperate bid to regain control, Sarah abruptly insisted they close the marriage entirely. Her reasoning felt thin and disingenuous at best, as the main motivation surfaced, a fear of losing not only Liam but also the essence of her own choices. "I no longer need anyone else," she declared, a plea for transparency cloaked in a guise of family solidarity, but one that left Liam skeptical. The contradictory nature of her stance led to a profound discomfort within him. Her actions reflected the struggle inherent in her desire for freedom, juxtaposed against her desperate need for stability. Liam recognized that if he was to engage in this closure of their marriage, there must be transparency regarding the implications intertwined with such a significant decision. He laid down conditions that mirrored the careful deliberation he had once applied to their open marriage. First, he demanded that the marriage be permanently closed, with no further discussions of opening it up again lurking in the future. Second, he insisted that Sarah sign a document waiving her right to spousal support in the event of a divorce. The latter clause, rooted in financial awareness of their unequal footing, highlighted Liam's acknowledgement of the dynamic that had governed their relationship, one where he had often positioned himself as the primary breadwinner. To Sarah, this financial condition felt like a trap rather than a safeguard. She had always held aspirations of independence, yet the precarious nature of her freelance work left her feeling vulnerable. "I do not want to be trapped," she erupted. "How am I supposed to pursue any personal interests if you are putting these constraints in place?" The accusations fell not only on deaf ears but also reflected the broader conflict manifesting between Sarah's desire for autonomy and the consequences of her demands. As the tension escalated, Sarah continued to push against Liam's conditions, vehemently asserting her independence while alluding to the potential for divorce as a tool of emotional leverage within the walls of their home. An icy silence settled in, thick with the weight of unresolved anger, disillusionment, and fear. Sarah believed this confrontation granted her more power than it truly did, as her emotional manipulation only drove them further apart. During this chaotic separation, a rift formed between their emotional connections, marking an intricate battlefield of hidden agendas and tested loyalty. Both struggled to remain on solid footing, while navigating the shifting sands of their relationship. Sarah's threats of divorce clashed with Liam's newfound resilience. He learned to resist emotional blackmail born of Sarah's insecurity and found strength within himself he had not realized existed. As the weeks turned into a season of profound change, the psychological push and pull between them crystallized their contrasting intentions. Sarah's relentless pursuit of connection turned to frustration when faced with tangible products of her unresolved longing, while Liam's emerging understanding of his emotional needs compelled him to explore new paths. The underlying theme of hypocrisy and manipulation that had found its way into their exchanges served as a poignant reminder: love and agency do not often coexist harmoniously, particularly when they intertwine so intricately in a fragile familial context. What began as a shared endeavor to explore freedom and self-reliance had subtly transformed into an ongoing tug-of-war, a struggle for control that succeeded in fracturing the very foundation they had once built together. Navigating the nuances of partnership proved challenging, shadowed by threats and hypocrisy entwined in a struggle for power. Each conversation unveiled the complexities of vulnerability and trust, forcing both Liam and Sarah to confront the painful reality that sometimes, in the quest for self-discovery, one can inadvertently dismiss those to whom they owe their deepest commitments. Within this uncertainty, they stood on the precipice of defining their relationship anew, either allowing it to grow and shift toward understanding, or giving way to the temptations of abandonment, leading them down a path that could forever alter the course of their family. As they grappled with the weight of emotional consequences, the pressure began to mount, setting the stage for the next phase of their complicated journey, a journey that would further challenge the promises they had made to one another and to their children. The storms of their actions now loomed ever larger, demanding recognition and resolution in a narrative that had become fraught with entangled loyalties and hidden truths. As the days melted into weeks, the intricate dance of emotions, desires, and hidden motivations between Liam and Sarah began to escalate. What once seemed like an unconventional approach to marriage was rapidly descending into a harsh reality filled with distrust and profound betrayal. The assumed freedom they had both sought was quickly unveiling layers of deceit that would change their relationship forever. Liam, more than ever, felt the weight of the open marriage. The strings of his heart tugged against the backdrop of their family life as he struggled to find comfort in his new connection with Clara. Those fleeting moments of joy he found in their relationship often warped into guilt as he woke every morning to the shadows of his marital woes. Yet as Sarah became more engulfed in her new relationship with Julian, the sense of betrayal Liam once felt about his wife's actions morphed into a frenzy of suspicion that beckoned him to investigate. Driven by an unsettling intuition, Liam began to scour their family iPad for clues, hoping to piece together the disconcerting puzzle of Sarah's recent behavior. As he sifted through saved images and family plans, it was unexpected that he would find the hidden folder. His heart raced when he opened a collection of screenshots detailing his location history. Every visit to Clara's bakery, every shared moment between them meticulously chronicled timestamps, coordinates, and patterns that illustrated Sarah's relentless barrage of surveillance. At first, all Liam could feel was disbelief. He originally envisioned that their open marriage would grant him a newfound freedom, not one encumbered by tracking or interrogation. The sense of betrayal became palpable as he contemplated Sarah's actions. How could she? Did she truly believe that her exploration came free of reciprocal honesty? Summoning courage and clarity, Liam confronted Sarah with the evidence. The space between them seemed to shrink as he revealed the hidden folder. Sarah's immediate reaction was one of denial, her indignation palpable as she accused him of invading her privacy. However, what followed was a series of deflections that further fueled Liam's anger. "You invaded my space by tracking me," Sarah snapped, her gaze cold and unwavering. "How could you do that?" "I came across those screenshots by accident," Liam responded, his voice steady despite the storm brewing within. "But you deliberately chose to violate our trust. You do not get to dictate both sides of this arrangement, while simultaneously keeping tabs on me. If we are to face this open marriage together, we must do so with mutual respect and honesty." The confrontation twisted and turned like the tumultuous relationship they had built over the years. Sarah's defenses faltered, revealing her vulnerabilities beneath layers of bravado. "I just wanted to know where you were, Liam. I wanted to feel safe, she admitted, though her defenses still masked deeper motives. When Julian ended things, I panicked. I did not want you to find someone else too, not when our family structure hangs in the balance. The simmering tension between them threatened to crack under the weight of their defenses. It was at that moment, battered yet resolute, that Liam proposed a desperate compromise: therapy. He wished to end the relationship with Clara if it meant salvaging their marriage and finding a way back to one another. However, this would only be possible if Sarah agreed to permanently close the marriage. Let us close the marriage, for good this time, Liam stated, a mixture of hope and trepidation lacing his words. We need to rebuild what we once cherished, but we cannot do so while living under these terms of uncertainty. If we are to choose this path, we must do so wholly. No outside partners, no hidden arrangements. At first, Sarah's silence was deafening, punctuated only by the distant sounds of life surrounding them. Then she seemed to come to life, her fervor returning as she expressed the notion of secretly exploring deeper relationship dimensions in the guise of therapy. It was not just exploration, Liam. It was about rediscovery, embracing all parts of myself I have neglected, she replied, a tone of desperation creeping into her voice. I do not want to close our marriage. I want to focus on us. I want to pick up where we left off without the stigma of past mistakes hanging over us. Though initially skeptical, Liam realized her desire for change echoed his own. He agreed to try therapy, setting stringent conditions that felt like scaffolding for a relationship already crumbling. Inquired about the future, they talked of closing the marriage, support and understanding shifting to the forefront. Yet Sarah's truths remained intertwined with deception. At their first therapy session, she revealed that her outside partner was none other than Julian. Her choice seemed betraying, and as she detailed how she had gravitated toward him in hopes of rekindling past feelings, Liam's anger ignited further. The contrast between her expectations of his support and her actions splintered any remaining goodwill. How can you think what you did is justified? Liam questioned, his voice laced with disbelief. You wanted an open marriage to rediscover yourself, but then you simultaneously sabotaged our connection. How do you not see how hypocritical that is? The confrontation, escalated as a mix of anger, sorrow, and bewilderment, filled the room. All the while Sarah reiterated that her intentions were rooted in a desire to feel young and desired again, as if her pursuit of self-exploration validated her betrayal. I cannot believe you would stoop to this level, he exclaimed in a fit of righteous anger. Do you truly think that rebounding on Julian erases the damage you have done to us, to our family? You cannot pick and choose which rules apply to whom. You do not get to explore outside while crafting narratives for me. Feeling the emotional and moral bankruptcy of their relationship fully exposed, Liam did what felt inevitable. He left. He needed space. Space to consider the ongoing spiral of lies that had consumed their marriage. He found refuge in a friend's spare room, loneliness stark as the reality of his marriage echoed in the silence. Upon returning home days later, Liam faced a chilling revelation. Maya, now 16 years old, seemed distant and accusatory, her demeanor indicative of the manipulation her mother had undertaken. The warmth of their relationship felt transformed. The love that had bound them began unraveling in the shadow of his wife's deceit. Maya, can we talk? He asked gently, trying to reach the daughter he loved. But her cold stare, filled with confusion and hurt, was difficult to bear. Why did you leave us to stay with some random bakery woman? She snapped, tears threatening to cascade down her cheeks. Mom said you were at your girlfriend Sip's house. Liam's heart sank. Guilt washed over him, though he quickly recognized the need to rewrite the narrative woven by Sarah's deceit. That is not the truth, he replied swiftly. I stayed with a friend for a few days to clear my head. Your mother and I are navigating some difficult adult issues, but I am still here for you, Maya. I love you dearly, and I do not want you to take sides based on only what one person has said. Listening to his calm response, he could see her frustration shift slightly, though distrust lingered. Radically overtaken by guilt, Liam remained firm in wanting to set the record straight. That gnawing need to expose the truth fueled his resolve. Subsequently, Liam's investigative instincts shifted into overdrive as he immersed himself in uncovering not just Sarah's double standards, but also her manipulations that had unknowingly seeped into their children's perceptions. Fueled by empathy for his children and the desire to protect their hearts from their mother's betrayal, Liam reached out to Julian's wife via LinkedIn. He wanted to prevent further emotional consequences, ultimately hoping to illustrate Sarah's hypocrisy wherever it might lead. It was not a decision he made lightly. The ramifications reverberated beyond just their shattered marriage. Weeks later, the confrontation between him and Sarah grew increasingly tense upon her discovering his actions. A storm brewed as Sarah's outburst heightened, her fury echoing through their struggles. "How could you sabotage this by reaching out to Julian's wife? You have destroyed their life," she shouted, framing her own ego as the only casualty. Julian Sepp's actions have caused immeasurable pain to both his family and mine. Liam shot back. "Do not frame this as my doing. You did not protect your children, and you do not get to dictate how I respond to your betrayals." The tension in their household grew unbearable, with both parents caught in a bitter truce, tethered together only by the children they shared. With each icy exchange, the warmth of their relationship felt as if it had been drowned in a cold, overwhelming sea, the joy once shared now extinguished by lies and manipulation. As he moved through their days together, he wrestled with a burgeoning realization: no matter the course of their marriage, the fabric of their lives could never return to what it had once been. Each interaction further emphasized how much trust had eroded, leaving behind a chasm of unresolved resentment and profound betrayal. As the cycles of entangled loyalties swirled around their fractured pact, massive decisions loomed on the horizon, highlighting the devastation wrought by hypocrisy and emotional exploitation. With each passing day, it became ever clearer that in the effort to explore, they had inadvertently unraveled a relationship once thought unbreakable. Would either of them be able to face the harsh change, or had their love reached a point of no return, one where the only path forward was mired in pain and separation? As Liam stood at the threshold of his home, feeling the chill that wrapped around the relationships he once cherished, he could not shake the overwhelming sense of impending despair. The atmosphere in the house had shifted dramatically, morphing from a warm familial cocoon into a network of distrust and hidden motivations. The children sensed the tension, the unspoken words hanging heavy in the air, and this unsettling shift sent Liam spiraling into concern for their emotional well-being. Upon returning home after a few days of turbulence that had seen him crash at a friend's place to gather his thoughts, he was met with a frosty reception. Maya, their eldest, who had always been bubbly and effervescent, now bore a mask of discontent. Her voice, once filled with love and laughter, now took on a cutting edge. The accusations fell from her lips like daggers, leaving Liam reeling. "Why did you leave us to stay with some random bakery woman?" she demanded, her eyes shining with anger and hurt. "Mom said you were at your girlfriend's house." The grief coursing through him twisted like a ragged knife against his heart. He had never accused Sarah of outright lying to their children, but in this moment, it felt as if she had crafted a narrative that condemned him without allowing space for truth. A wave of guilt and frustration swelled within him, but he knew he had to respond thoughtfully to counteract the poison that had begun to infiltrate their daughter's perception of him. "Maya," Liam began, choosing his words with care, "can we talk?" He saw the tension in her shoulders, the way her brow furrowed, and with careful, deliberate moves, he sought to bridge the chasm that stretched between them. "Can you allow me to explain?" With a hesitant nod, Maya crossed her arms, still brimming with skepticism. "Fine. I stayed with a friend for a few days to clear my head," he explained carefully, mindful of the pain threading through her voice. "Your mother and I are navigating some difficult adult issues, but I want you to understand that I love you and Finn more than anything. I am here for you no matter what." Liam watched as the fiery anger in her eyes wavered, replaced by a flicker of confusion. Realizing he needed to offer more than mere clarification, he showed her the exchanges he had with his friend on his phone, establishing an undeniable timeline that debunked Sarah's rumors. "Look, this is the truth," he insisted. "Let us not jump to conclusions based on half-truths." Yet even as he made to reassure her, the palpable distance between father and daughter grew heavier. Parental alienation often hid its cruel machinations beneath the veneer of familial love, manipulating relationships like a puppeteer yanking strings. Despite Liam's efforts to engage her in honest discussion, he recognized that Sarah's influence had marked Maya's perspective, warping her view of him into something monstrous. The realization struck like a thunderbolt. This was about more than just the marriage. This was about the future of their family. The days turned into nights, and the haunting specter of estrangement clouded every interaction within the house. Liam could feel the walls closing in on him. Their once vibrant family life now reduced to cold silence, punctuated by hollow exchanges. Faced with the emotional upheaval of their fractured dynamics, he realized that survival necessitated drastic measures. Resolute and fearful for his daughter's emotional integrity, he hurriedly set to work, gathering the evidence to protect not only his own interests, but also the sanctity of his children's emotional lives. Turning to LinkedIn, he sought out Julian's wife, sharing irrefutable proof of the affair Sarah had been involved in for far too long. This was not merely retaliation. This was an imperative securing the truth before the cobweb of lies ensnared their children further. Liam's hands trembled as he composed the message, weighing each word carefully. There was no pleasure in unveiling this painful reality. It served a higher purpose to ensure that Julian's family was spared from the same deceit that had immobilized his own. Julian's wife deserved the truth just as much as Liam wanted freedom from the lies that had festered within their marriage. Weeks passed, each day bringing forth a new wave of tension. With each icy glance and word exchange between him and Sarah, the foundation of their cohabitation eroded further into discontent. The atmosphere became unbearable, filled with accusations so heavy they suffocated any attempt at reconciliation. The children, caught in the middle, bore the brunt of their parents' hostility, like pyres of emotional detritus ignited by the flames of their bitterness. One night, unable to contain the fevered tension any longer, Sarah confronted Liam, her fury explosive. "How could you sabotage this by reaching out to Julian's wife? You have destroyed their life," she raged, her words ringing through the darkness of their quiet home like sirens at war. Liam felt a wave of incredulity sweep over him as he absorbed her outrage. "You do not get to dictate how I respond to your betrayals," he replied, his voice steady and firm. "You did not protect our children from your actions. I will not remain silent in the face of your manipulations." With that, a battle of words erupted, punctured by sharp escalations and defensive shields. While Liam fought to uphold his integrity and protect his children, Sarah wielded emotional blackmail like a weapon, stubbornly casting herself as the victim amidst the wreckage of their marriage. As days turned into months, they remained two ships passing in the night, a charade of normalcy masking the deeper fractures within their family. With each exchange, Liam bore witness to the pervasive rift that had grown between them, a constant reminder of betrayal veiled in sweetness. Sarah, seemingly unfazed by the havoc wreaked on their children, continued her campaign of manipulation as she pitted Maya against him, suggesting that his absence was for lack of love rather than the turmoil they had endured. Yet the heart of their struggle lingered in Liam's conscience. He wished for his children to see the genuine love he held for them, how betrayal and anger could not dictate the boundaries of their familial bond. Lovingly, he sought ways to reconnect with them, engaging in their interests and inviting conversation without the burdens of their mother's directives, vowing to remain a steadfast presence amidst the storm. Life moved on, and the ache of their shattered marriage rendered Liam weary, yet fueled by the need to remain resolute for his children. The relationship with Sarah felt irreparable, an ever-widening chasm tainted by deceit. As they navigated their fraught existence under the same roof, Liam could only reflect upon the heavy cost of their decisions, an unyielding reminder that past mistakes haunted their future. Yet, while the world outside remained cloaked in familial strife, Liam found clarity in redefining his narrative, a tale not just of heartbreak, but of resilience and the unwavering love that he sought to offer his children. In the darkest of moments, he realized what he had feared all along. A fractured pact could lead to the emergence of a new and more profound commitment, a promise to prioritize his children above all else. As we conclude our exploration of the fractured pact, we recognize the profound effects of choices made under emotional duress. The journey of Liam and Sarah reveals the intricacies of love and betrayal, exposing the hidden layers of emotional manipulation that often dwells in tumultuous relationships. It raises critical questions about parental roles and the significant impact on the lives of children caught in the crossfire. If you found value in this story, please consider subscribing to our channel for more narratives that delve into the complexities of relationships and the human experience. Join our community as we continue to explore the stories that shape lives, spark conversations, and remind us of the strength found within vulnerability. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on the challenges faced by Liam and Sarah. Have you encountered similar experiences in your life, or do you have insights on navigating difficult relationships? We would love to hear from you. Thank you for being a part of our journey today, and until next time, remember to embrace honesty and love, for they are critical to our shared human story, to our shared human story, to our shared human story, to our shared